talking about your big writings that opened my eyes, I really loved the one lately about the use of enemies to win
Oh,
an audience. It reminded me of Tupac Shakur, Biggie Smalls, but without the guns, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing that's more galvanizing around, for a community than something to sort of fight against. I think oftentimes more so than even uh, a specific message that is positive. When there's a threat, people come together, and you know Twitter beefs and YouTube beefs and influencer beefs, all these things that I think a lot of them are very real. Some of them I think are more orchestrated, but the byproduct oftentimes is, you people love drama. It generates headlines. Those headlines drive awareness. So maybe it grows the audience, and at the same time, the existing audience feels like they need to pick a side, and so they need to defend like their person, and then they become more emotionally invested in sort of the creator that they really know and love, and it makes them almost more of a super fan in a lot of ways. And I think it's a great strategy. Certainly not one that I feel like I could pull off, just because of my persona. It's not like I don't like picking fights, but I think if you are someone who's comfortable with that, I think it's great. And there's a lot of different ways to approach it too. You can sort of do a very concrete enemy. You can do sort of like a perceived enemy. Like I did a newsletter recently. I'm not I don't know much about Taylor Swift, but I thought the phenomenon of her new album was really interesting. I saw everybody talking about it. Everybody at work was talking about it in Slack. And so I watched that YouTube video, All Too Well. It's like this 10-minute long thing. And it's sort of like, it's really interesting how she creates an enemy to a certain degree in the form of her ex. But at the same time, she leaves it open to interpretation of like who it is. And so people can kind of project, their own ex, and like, Taylor Swift's journey is sort of the hero's journey. It's one of about like overcoming obstacles and kind of growing into your own and achieving your dreams. And I think it's like, it's a very universal feeling that people tap into. And I think, brands, I oftentimes think that brands should do more of it. I understand why they don't, given legal and shareholders and all of that, but it's a phenomenal strategy if you can sort of pull it
And
off.
also because you would be helping your competitor as a brand. Because let's face it, both the people in the clash profit from, whether it's orchestrated or not.
Yeah.
There is a thing there was a guy in French TV 20 years ago that was doing big ratings, although everybody hated him. And one executive one time told me, "Oh yeah, but he's the guy everybody loves to hate."
Mm-hmm.
So they watch him just to hate him, but they watch him by the millions.
Mm-hmm.
And this opened my eyes, that because I really, really hated him, but I was watching. So I was one of those tuning in just to say, "Oh, he said that stupid thing again."
Yeah.
But that will happen when you polarize to people. You're gonna get the views from the people who love you, and you're gonna get the views from the people who are looking for your sweep so that they can go hate in the comments, but you're still getting the views.
Yeah.
So it creates that phenomenon that worked for hip hop. And I gotta tell you, the best marketing campaign, accidental, did ever was one day at Clixan, we get sued by Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. And it became David against 3 Goliath.
Yeah.
That never agree on anything. And this time they agreed on suing David.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we multiplied our sales by 200x overnight.
That's
By
awesome.
one CNN appearance that Jen made it on Slashdot. And But that was just, something you cannot reproduce even if you try.
Yeah.
But it opened my eyes about having big enemies make you bigger, much bigger.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people say, like, to pick an enemy that is bigger than yourself, because suddenly it puts you on the same playing field. As soon as they acknowledge it, it's sort of like they're almost acknowledging that, like, oh yeah, we're peers, and it can be a great stepping stone in a lot of ways.
And that's why brands don't do it so much, because the view of Coca-Cola is Pepsi-Cola doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
It's too small to talk about.
Absolutely.
But you could have I see the idea. You can have it between two startups of different industries who don't have something to lose. Instead of doing co-marketing friendly like they do it now, they could do it as a fight.